Ramla Ali, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. Ramla Ali is a boxer, a UK boxer. She is she turned professional very recently. She had her first professional fight a few weeks ago, which she won. She seems to be quite a good boxer. She was due to have her second professional fight this weekend, but she's picked up this virus, this COVID thing, so it's been postponed for the moment. Now, Ramla Ali is a Somali woman. She's 31 years of age, I think. She left Somalia as a child as a consequence of the civil war in Somalia. The family moved to, I'm not certain what African country, we'll just say it was Kenya. It might not have been Kenya, but we'll just say. So they moved to Kenya, but they didn't want to stay there, whatever the reason. And this family decided they wanted to live in a racist, Islamophobic country. So they decided they'd go to England. Obviously, they didn't know what the British media tell us every day of the week, that Britain is a systemically racist country. Obviously, they didn't know that. So instead of going to, I don't know offhand how many countries there are in Africa, but there are quite a few, and many of these countries are thriving economically, doing very well. But they didn't want to go to any of these countries. They wanted to go to this racist, Islamophobic, white, patriarchal country, Britain. And did I mention that she's a Muslim lady? Okay, she's a Muslim female refugee and all of that. So they went to Britain. Oh, her brother was killed in the civil war in Somalia. I don't know if I mentioned that. When they went to England, she had I think it was a cousin, a boy or man, young man, boy, who was stabbed. They were living in the East End, I believe it was. When she was in school, she was bullied because she was apparently overweight. There's a pattern here. There's a victimology sort of pattern here. You know, this woman's story ticks all the boxes. Now, I don't know anything about Ramla Ali beyond what I hear her say in YouTube videos and in the many articles about her on the web. Now, also, I'm not familiar with whatever magazines might be considered groovy today or popular, but you name a magazine that's hot today, she's been on the cover. She apparently does some modelling. And just last night I was reading an article about her, and the list of magazine covers this woman's been on is extraordinary. Now, what else? Oh yes, if you Google the woman, it seems every media company in the world have got this woman's story. They love her. The media are all over her. She's number one. She's the darling of the media. Now, one thing else you should know, well, a few things else. She's been signed by Matchroom Boxing, who of course were happy to mention she was a refugee, Somalia, all of that, a young Muslim woman. And She's been signed also by Anthony Joshua. I believe he's her manager. Now, Anthony Joshua is a supporter of Black Lives Matter. He's also not adverse to playing the race card, if he thinks he gets away with it. And often he does, in spite of the fact that most of the money that he makes comes from his white fans. He still sort of feels that Britain is, well, racist. But he supports Black Lives Matter. Now, Ramla Ali herself has said that for the first year of her professional career, for the first year, she is going to give a quarter of her purse money, whatever she earns at boxing. She's going to give a quarter of that to Black Lives Matter related charities. Now, I don't like Black Lives Matter. I don't like organizations that lead to the death of black people. When George Floyd died in police custody, there were quite a few black people who were killed in the ensuing riots, all of which were egged on, if not downright promoted, by Black Lives Matter. Everywhere these people act, there's a whole army of black dead bodies behind them. So I don't like them. I really don't like them. I can remember the Black Panthers in the 60s and 70s, and they were drug-pushing scumbag parasites on the black community. Black Lives Matter are just a modern version of that. I get angry even thinking of them. But, so, there's a narrative here. This woman has a story, but it's also a narrative. And I say it as a narrative because it's a story I've heard over and over and over again. I've heard this story, variations of this story, for years now. In my little kitchen there on the radio, every week I hear stories, variations on this. The lying media push these stories, and 90% of the time it's perfectly obvious that what they're saying is lies. It's in your face, obvious. It's just blatant lying. But what was I going to say? Yes, this narrative. This is a narrative that has been rammed down our necks for years now. As I say, there are variations, but there's a theme to it. And I don't like this narrative. I'm sick and tired of this narrative. Now, I don't know anything about Ramla Ali. I don't have any ill will towards her. As I said, she seems to be a very good boxer. She has a very good personality. A little bit abrasive, bit in your face, but a good personality. So as a boxing fan, I'm very happy to see her come along, and I imagine she has a very good career. But she also does work for UNICEF. She's some sort of a roving ambassador of sorts for UNICEF. I'm not happy with that. UNICEF, the United Nations, United Nations Human Rights Committee. Have you ever looked at that recently? Some of the greatest violators of human rights on this planet are now creating United Nations human rights policies. It's an obscene joke. And it's pretty horrifying stuff to read. The people who are behind human rights in the United Nations now. It's dreadful. Dreadful. But, and I'm getting off the point now, what was I saying? Yeah, I don't like any of this. And also this woman, as I say, she is loved by the media. and the media lie about just about everything. You know, years ago, I came to the conclusion that if the media portrays someone as liberal and tolerant, I know they're a neo-fascist, racist scumbag. If the media portrays someone as far-righted and bigoted and full of hatred, I know that's a decent person. You know, every single decent person I know now is called far-right. In fact, every decent person I've ever known would today be called far-right. It's, it's so, when you get the Guardian newspaper, when you get the BBC, when you get all these people putting this woman up like a poster child, she has the perfect story. The war in Somalia, the civil war, the wandering as a stateless person sort of in Africa, coming to Britain, having a hard life, all of this. When the BBC takes someone and they promote them like this, then you have to think that this is all lies. Now, as I say, I don't know anything about the woman. I certainly don't wish her any. I hope she does well. Hope she's happy, etc., etc. But I don't like this narrative. And this type of thing is beginning to creep into sports. It's like the narrative that women are exploited. They don't get paid the same as men. And I'll make a video of that in the future. But, all these narratives are false. They're all lies. But, yeah, Ramla Ali. But it's extraordinary. If you go on the web, just read the myriad stories about her life. The traction this woman has is extraordinary. The number of people who, all of those people, all of these NGO types, all of those people who keep saying, shut up, you're racist, shut up, you're Islamophobic, shut up, you're homophobic, shut up, you're transphobic. All of the people who are pushing this narrative, they all love her. Now, as I said, she is a Muslim. Nothing wrong with that. But what if she was a Sikh girl? A working class Sikh girl, maybe born in the north of England. There's a lot of Sikh girls in the north of England, and they have a very tragic story to tell. But they're not on the cover of any magazines. The BBC don't give them a voice. In fact, if any of these girls even attempted to tell their story, they'd be told, shut up. Shut your bigoted, hate-filled mouth. And that, of course, is why there are hate speech laws in Britain, and why there are more and more calls to strengthen these hate speech laws. It's to shut up working class Sikh girls and working class white girls. These hate speech laws are designed to shut a lot of people up, and they're succeeding. In the meantime, this narrative is being projected. Isn't it wonderful? It's all about skin color. It's all about race. It's all about race. These people, we are living in an age which is dominated by race and racist ideas. This multicultural society, it sees everything in terms of race. And if you don't agree with them, then it's shut up, you're a bigot. As I say, this girl, Ramla Ali, she seems like a very good boxer. Strong personality. A person you sort of love or hate, but you wouldn't ignore her. She's going to be good for boxing. And I look forward to seeing her fight but I don't like the narrative. Uh, I don't like the fact that she's supporting Black Lives Matter. Uh, I don't like the company she keeps. I really, really don't like the company she keeps.